Ashtar, urgent 2026. The next 6 months will change everything on Earth to the cherished kindred spirits inhabiting Earth. I, Ashtar, extend my presence with a crucial message, meticulously crafted to resonate deeply within every single soul, especially those who have grown weary of convoluted terminology and ceaseless theoretical discourse. Within this remarkably focused time frame, spanning from February through August of the year 2026, a singularly profound yet elegantly simple underlying theme is poised to begin its tangible manifestation within the fabric of your everyday existence. The very methodologies by which humanity quantifies inherent worth, facilitates its dynamic movement, and places its fundamental trust in various forms of value are embarking upon a transformative journey across the entirety of your world. While countless individuals may articulate this shift as merely a rearrangement of digital figures displayed upon screens, the more profound and enduring truth reveals that what you collectively call money has, in essence, perpetually functioned as a compelling narrative, one that you have all collectively consented to believe. It is within this universally accepted narrative that the forthcoming months are destined to usher in a palpably visible alteration, an adjustment that many of you will instinctively perceive and experience, irrespective of whether you actively monitor financial markets, engage with economic analyses, or track the ebb and flow of digital assets. Through the perspective offered by this unfolding panorama, I humbly implore you to embrace a singular, tranquil contemplation whenever a foundational, shared narrative undergoes alteration. The collective behavior of humanity invariably shifts in concordance, rendering your individual choices infinitely more impactful and significant than any fleeting rumor or speculative whisper. One particularly lucid method for comprehending the concept of the quantum financial system, as it is frequently characterized by many, involves envisioning an advanced ledger mechanism specifically engineered to render the concealment of financial activities exceedingly difficult, if not utterly improbable. Instead of permitting unseen, powerful influences to clandestinely transfer value without leaving an unambiguous and traceable path, this evolving narrative describes an intricate system where every transaction can be meticulously tracked with unprecedented clarity, thereby making clandestine shortcuts and deliberately obfuscated detours far more challenging to execute or disguise. From your unique human vantage point, you might increasingly encounter individuals uttering phrases such as "every transaction will be meticulously recorded," or "absolute accountability will prevail for all," or even "the cunning old stratagems simply won't yield the same results anymore." Beneath the surface of these common expressions lies a fundamentally straightforward premise: a widespread expectation is burgeoning for significantly enhanced transparency in the processes by which value is both circulated and accounted for. And this deeply held expectation alone possesses the inherent power to fundamentally reshape collective behavior. Therefore, I urge you to keenly observe how societal conversations are already beginning to evolve and diverge from their past patterns. In previous years, people frequently engaged in interminable debates concerning the existential reality of certain phenomena, the undeniable presence of manipulation, and the potential for powerful, concentrated groups to exert control over markets. However, during this pivotal period, a diminishing number of individuals will expend energy debating whether such pressures exist. Instead, a greater emphasis will be placed on understanding precisely how these pressures are being managed, and, crucially, discerning who ultimately stands to benefit when established narratives undergo significant shifts. This profound alteration in the prevailing public mood stands as one of the most critical indicators for when the very cornerstone of trust is called into question on such an expansive scale. The foundational precepts of collective belief inevitably begin to be meticulously rewritten. My dearest ones, the most pragmatic and accessible method for observing this profound transformation lies in discerning the palpable difference between a mere promise and a tangible, verifiable thing. A promise, by its very nature, can be inscribed upon a document, vocally declared into a microphone, digitally entered onto an exchange platform, or formally recorded as a commitment. A thing, conversely, represents that which you can genuinely utilize, physically grasp, reliably deliver, constructively build with, and inherently trust. When the exigencies of the moment demand unwavering steadfastness, When substantial segments of the populace begin to demonstrably favor tangible assets over ethereal promises, you will invariably witness extraordinary and often counterintuitive behaviors emerging in those traditional repositories where humanity typically deposits its faith, such as precious metals, physical coinage, and specific, utility-driven forms of digital value. In essence, the overarching story of money is rapidly transforming into a deeply personal narrative of trust, and this fundamental trust moves with the inexorable power and rhythm of an ocean tide. Consider, for a moment, the specific types of market patterns that many of you are already discussing with growing frequency: abrupt and dramatic market swings that bear the hallmarks of careful engineering, swiftly followed by equally rapid recoveries that almost appear to be the result of a momentary lapse in external control. Observe closely how a precipitous downward movement can manifest, only to be met by an equally vigorous rebound, as if one unseen influence exerted a downward push on the price, while an entirely separate, equally powerful force resolutely refused to permit it to remain at that lower level. Regardless of whether your personal interpretation is primarily financial, political, or deeply spiritual, the overt and undeniable message conveyed is remarkably straightforward. It is a clear-cut tug-of-war. In such a contest, the rope itself invariably reveals two fundamental truths: precisely who is exerting the pull, and who, despite the pressure, is still tenaciously holding on. From February through August, this metaphorical rope will become conspicuously visible more often, and this heightened visibility is destined to awaken and enlighten many individuals who, prior to this period, had largely disregarded these significant topics. Another direct and unequivocal way to articulate the concept of asset-backed value is remarkably simple. An asset-backed system is put forth as a robust value framework, one that is underpinned by something genuinely tangible and real, rather than existing as a mere promise suspended precariously in the air. A promise can exude an illusion of strength when universal belief sustains it, yet becomes exceedingly fragile the moment that collective belief begins to fray or crack. Conversely, the notion of an asset-backed system naturally draws people in during periods of pervasive uncertainty because it imparts a profound sense of groundedness and stability. And it is precisely this sense of being firmly grounded that humans instinctively seek when their surrounding environment feels overwhelmingly chaotic and dissonant. You will undoubtedly hear an increasing number of conversations that deliberately incorporate discussions of gold, silver, various commodities, and other palpably solid reference points not as objects of blind worship, but rather as powerful reaffirmations of intrinsic worth. Another pervasive theme that you will invariably encounter is the concept of rails. In the simplest terms, rails are merely the established pathways through which value efficiently travels, much like well-defined roads or arteries for the circulation of money. The older, established rails typically encompass familiar banking corridors, often characterized by protracted settlement times, and systems that fundamentally rely on an implicit trust placed in traditional institutions. Newer rails, in stark contrast, are consistently depicted as being significantly faster, inherently more traceable, and far more extensively automated, thereby presenting fewer opportunities for a hidden intermediary or clandestine hand to extract an illicit portion. While people may understandably disagree about which specific technology will ultimately achieve market dominance, and such disagreement is entirely normal and expected, the unifying thread is unequivocally clear: a substantial segment of the population is actively preparing for a fundamental transformation in the very pathways and infrastructures themselves. Some of your forward-thinking communities extensively discuss utility-linked digital tokens, perceiving them as practical tools rather than mere speculative hype. Within this evolving narrative, specific tokens are often cited as potential bridges connecting the older and newer financial rails, with particular examples frequently named in these progressive circles. Whether a given example ultimately proves accurate is less significant than the broader pattern. It exemplifies an urgent and widespread search for demonstrable function over fleeting fashion. A token that merely ignites transient emotions can rise and fall solely on the capricious whims of sentiment. However, a token that demonstrably carries a vital function in the process of settlement is perceived fundamentally differently, because people intuitively imagine it actively being used in real-world transactions rather than merely being traded for speculative gain. Thus, The forthcoming months are destined to illuminate a broader and more profound societal shift from valuing mere entertainment to valuing practical utility, from chasing fleeting attention to embracing enduring practical worth. Even so, beloved ones, do not permit any single asset to become the object of your spiritual devotion or personal dogma. Do not allow any material possession to usurp or replace your inherent inner stability and equanimity. Do not grant any personality, social influencer, or viral prediction the ultimate authority over the trajectory of your precious life. A far wiser and more resilient path involves diligently observing patterns, meticulously keeping your practical choices uncomplicated and straightforward, and patiently allowing the natural unfolding of time to reveal what is genuinely real without succumbing to the temptation of forcing premature certainty. When you perceive an internal pull toward uncharacteristic urgency or panic, intentionally return to the soothing rhythm of your breath and the grounding presence of your daily life, because genuine clarity never demands or benefits from undue haste. Community, in this pivotal window, matters immensely not as an empty buzzword or fashionable concept, but as a living, breathing daily reality. When individuals experience profound uncertainty, they tend to behave far more constructively and compassionately when they feel genuinely supported and connected. Conversely, when people feel isolated and alone, they're significantly more prone to making impetuous decisions that they subsequently regret. Therefore, your vital role as a stabilizing presence is not to prevail in arguments or to definitively prove complex theories, but rather to consistently maintain a measured and calm demeanor, a tone that others can metaphorically borrow and emulate. Kindness displayed in everyday transactions becomes a truly profound spiritual practice, precisely because stressed and pressured individuals respond far more positively to unwavering steadiness than they do to impassioned sermons. A calm and reassuring voice at the point of checkout, a brief moment of sincere patience during a phone interaction, a gentle yet firm boundary established within a fear-laden conversation, these seemingly insignificant acts are, in fact, not small at all. They possess immense power. A particularly lucid way to articulate what is currently unfolding is this: the intricate meaning of payment and settlement is rapidly transitioning into a topic of widespread popular conversation. Payment occurs when you physically or digitally transfer something over. Settlement, on the other hand, is the definitive moment when the system unequivocally declares, yes, this transaction is complete, it is final, it is conclusively done. Many of your older, established systems frequently delay the actual settlement process behind the scenes, and these deliberate delays inadvertently create vast spaces where manipulative games can be cleverly orchestrated. Newer financial rails, however, promise significantly faster, considerably clearer settlement processes with markedly fewer hidden corners or opportunities for obfuscation. When settlement becomes both quicker and substantially more transparent, the entire cultural ecosystem surrounding money undergoes a fundamental transformation, precisely because hidden games have dramatically less space to clandestinely operate. Observe, with discerning eyes, how excessively perfect narratives tend to surface during periods such as this. An overly perfect story arrives much like a fully finalized movie script. Every minute detail is impeccably rendered, every date precisely specified, every outcome guaranteed with absolute certainty, and every doubter meticulously ridiculed. Truth, in its purest form, rarely speaks with the slick persuasion of a seasoned marketer. Genuine wisdom rarely finds it necessary to resort to insult or derision. So, when narratives emerge that attempt to drag you into emotional extremes, whether wild certainty or crushing, paralyzing fear, simply allow time to perform its essential work. Patience, during this critical window, stands as one of the most potent forms of clear discernment you can cultivate. From our elevated perspective, the deepest and most profound purpose of any significant financial shift is not to compel humanity to worship new technologies or machines. Its true, underlying objective is to guide human exchange toward the establishment of clearer, more equitable agreements and to foster the creation of meticulously cleaner, more transparent records, because genuine clarity fundamentally reduces instances of theft, mitigates pervasive despair, and minimizes widespread confusion. When financial records become demonstrably clearer, the collective consciousness begins to breathe with greater ease, and the attainment of justice becomes far more probable. And when the possibility of justice expands, you will witness a palpable sense of relief spreading throughout families, extending into neighborhoods, and permeating entire communities. This profound relief is not an abstract concept. It manifests tangibly as food on the table, as renewed trust in commercial trade, and as significantly fewer traps laid for the unwary. Allow me to speak plainly about how anyone can navigate this period with grace and efficacy. Firstly, endeavor to maintain the simplicity of your personal life. Secondly, ensure the stability of your fundamental necessities. Thirdly, steadfastly avoid making decisions driven by panic. Fourthly, actively build inner strength through the practice of practical kindness and diligent local cooperation. Fifthly, always remember that your inherent worth is never, ever defined by a fluctuating market number. Now, here are straightforward, practical, and effortlessly applicable guidelines for your consideration. Maintain a small, readily accessible reserve of essential supplies so that your mind can remain tranquil and composed. When various services appear sluggish or confusing, move forward with deliberate patience instead of succumbing to undue urgency. Employ clear and prioritized considerations in all your spending habits and consciously opt for a basic, sustainable budget over chasing dramatic or sensational predictions, because consistently calm and well-considered choices collectively build enduring stability. Practice kindness in all your transactions as a living, breathing skill, because pressured and stressed individuals inevitably soften and become more receptive when they perceive and feel genuine respect. Pay careful attention when stories seem excessively perfect and then allow the passage of time to rigorously test their veracity, because reality invariably reveals itself without any need for you to force it. Actively support local exchange networks and practical skills within your community, because true and lasting value is also profoundly found in neighbors, assisting neighbors and communities collaborating harmoniously. Choose your sources of information with meticulous care, because repeated alarm signals can cunningly divert your focus from the simple, foundational actions that keep your life stable and coherent. Maintain a long-term perspective, because the most potent and transformative changes unfold in discernible stages, and steady, unwavering attention invariably outlasts sudden, ephemeral excitement. One more profound truth deserves a gentle, cherished place within your heart. Peace consistently grows through firm, conscious choices made in ordinary, everyday moments. Markets may fluctuate wildly, new narratives may constantly emerge, rumors may spread with alarming speed, and yet your precious life continues to hold sacred, simple actions: cooking, caring for others, diligently working, peacefully resting, speaking kindly, walking outdoors, simply breathing. These are not mere distractions, they are your fundamental anchors. When a collective consciousness traverses a concentrated season of intense change, common, shared stability itself becomes a profound form of leadership. In the forthcoming months, you will increasingly witness more people realizing that true value transcends what a screen merely announces. You will see more individuals remembering that genuine integrity fosters deep trust, and that this trust, in turn, creates smoother, more equitable exchanges. You will observe more people deliberately stepping away from manipulative, hidden games and consciously gravitating toward clearer, more transparent agreements, precisely because such clarity feels like an immense relief. You will also, unfortunately, see many individuals desperately searching for someone to blame when uncertainty inevitably rises, and you will offer invaluable assistance by resolutely refusing to feed that cycle of blame. A gentler, more harmonious path becomes genuinely possible when a sufficient number of humans collectively decide to be sensible, kind, and profoundly grounded. From our vantage point, we observe that humanity is indeed ready to comprehend the nature of money in a more mature and enlightened fashion. Instead of treating it as an omnipotent god or a terrifying monster, you can learn to treat it as a versatile tool, a mutually agreed upon, shared understanding. Instead of permitting it to dictate your inherent worth, you can assert your own value and strategically utilize money as a willing servant of life itself. Instead of allowing it to be twisted into a weapon of fear, you can consciously transform it into a vehicle for genuine care and compassion. This, beloved ones, is how a new standard of value transcends being a mere headline-ite blossoms into a truly lived reality. So, we leave you with a clear instruction for this initial session: remain practical, maintain your calm, and always be kind. Keep your eyes open with keen awareness without allowing your heart to harden. Let your discernment be strong and resolute without ever becoming cruel. Let your personal life remain simple and grounded while the larger, global story meticulously reorganizes itself. Within the same 6-month period, you are already intuitively sensing another profound theme is simultaneously ascending alongside the significant financial shift. The very narrative you collectively tell yourselves about your skies, about your moon, and about humanity's place within a vast, expansive universe is beginning to gently loosen and meticulously reshape itself. In many diverse lands, this momentous shift will not arrive as a jarring, loud announcement, but rather as a steady, incremental rhythm of subtle hints, strategic pauses, perplexing contradictions, and small, yet significant, recognitions that slowly but surely accumulate. Through this session, I invite you to embrace a remarkably simple yet profound idea. Disclosure is not a singular, dramatic event. It is, in truth, an intricate and evolving process that educates and integrates through calculated repetition, the passage of time, and the collective emotional readiness of humanity. In your world, focused attention is unequivocally one of the most potent tools that exist. Wherever collective attention is directed, belief inevitably follows in its wake. And wherever belief takes root, acceptance naturally blossoms and grows. For this compelling reason, large-scale public events such as colossal sports tournaments, global broadcast spectacles, major motion picture releases, and widely discussed space missions frequently serve as powerful gathering points for shared focus and collective awareness. From February through August 2026, many of these powerful attention funnels will cluster closer together than is typically observed, thereby creating a uniquely fertile environment where novel ideas can be skillfully introduced without risk of overwhelming the collective psyche. Instead of fruitlessly questioning whether this convergence is purely accidental or meticulously planned, a more tranquil and ultimately more beneficial question will serve you better: what overarching narrative or concept is actively being normalized through this strategic repetition? You may increasingly notice how the very language itself begins to subtly transform. Words and phrases once spoken only within the confines of private forums or niche communities will start to appear with increasing frequency in popular, everyday conversations. Expressions such as unidentified craft, advanced technology, or even the profoundly significant term non-human will gradually migrate from the fringes of esoteric discourse into casual, commonplace speech. When this phenomenon occurs, the intense emotional charge surrounding these topics invariably softens. Initial shock slowly gives way to nascent curiosity. Curiosity transitions into open conversation, and conversation eventually yields to quiet, internal acceptance. This, precisely, is the gentle yet powerful method by which expansive, paradigm-shifting ideas are gradually integrated into a culture without causing its irreparable fracture. Many of you have already keenly observed discussions surrounding space missions that are framed as returns rather than as initial first steps. You increasingly hear references to lunar bases being initiated or specific systems being tested again, and something deep within you instinctively pauses. Why does the language sound so remarkably familiar? Because it imparts a distinct feeling of continuation rather than an absolute beginning. These moments are far from mere communication accidents. They represent soft, permeable edges where older, concealed truths subtly brush against newly scripted narratives. Some listeners, understandably, will not notice these nuances, and that is perfectly acceptable. Others will experience a quiet, internal recognition, and that, too, is entirely fine. Consider thoughtfully how the moon has historically resided within your collective imagination. For many decades, it was largely treated as a completed chapter destination visited, extensively explored, and then effectively set aside. Suddenly, and with renewed vigor, it is returning to the absolute center of public conversation, now framed as unfinished business. Scheduled missions, meticulously discussed timelines, and forcefully reaffirmed goals as if no time whatsoever had elapsed. For a great many, this resurgence raises no particular questions. For others, however, It gently opens a profound door of curiosity. Both responses are entirely natural, and neither necessitates undue urgency or alarm. During this concentrated window, documentaries, podcasts, and informal conversations about what some refer to as the secret space program will become considerably more visible and prevalent. These unfolding stories function as progressive steps rather than definitive conclusions. They do not demand that the public implicitly believe every single detail. Instead, they simply invite the public to contemplate and consider more than a single established possibility. By doing so, they effectively expand the very boundaries of what is deemed acceptable or permissible to discuss. This significant expansion of discourse is the genuine, foundational work of disclosure. It meticulously prepares minds and hearts to assimilate and hold much larger, more challenging truths at a later stage. Some of you may hear circulating rumors of specific dates, significant speeches, or grand announcements unequivocally tied to this particular period, especially during the months of June and July. You might hear whispers of a high-profile address, a symbolically potent event, or a singular moment that's purported to change everything instantaneously. It is an inherent characteristic of the human mind to earnestly seek a single, definitive turning point. Yet, true wisdom poses a gentler, more insightful question: what if the profound change arrives through a gradual accumulation of evidence and understanding rather than a sudden, explosive revelation? What if numerous small, individual recognitions collectively reshape belief far more effectively than any singular, dramatic disclosure? A steady and measured approach during this time involves remaining perpetually curious without ever becoming rigid in your perspectives. Curiosity keeps your mind expansively open to new information. Rigidity, conversely, locks you into fixed positions that can unfortunately harden into fear or derisive mockery. Neither of these extremes genuinely serves the cause of true understanding. The middle path, one that is open, acutely observant, and profoundly calm, allows you to integrate new information at a pace that your inner world can comfortably bear and assimilate. From our expansive perspective, disclosure serves a far deeper and more profound purpose than merely satisfying fleeting curiosity. Its true, ultimate aim is to gracefully reunite humanity with a broader, more accurate context of existence, achieving this crucial integration without overwhelming or fracturing your deeply rooted emotional foundation. A sudden, jarring revelation could potentially fracture individual and collective identity. A gradual, carefully managed revelation, on the other hand, allows identity to gently and organically expand. That is precisely why disclosure unfolds in deliberate layers, and why those layers frequently arrive in successive waves. Each wave meticulously prepares the ground for the subsequent one. You may also perceive how the entertainment industry plays a surprisingly significant role in this ongoing process. Films, television series, and specifically themed events frequently introduce complex concepts long before any official acknowledgement ever follows. They effectively function as vital rehearsal spaces for the collective imagination. When a concept eventually appears in the formal language of news media, many individuals have already encountered and processed it emotionally through the compelling power of story. This reality does not render the media false; instead, it renders it preparatory. Storytelling gently teaches the nervous system, through the comfort of familiarity, that new, challenging ideas are indeed survivable and assimilable. Megasporting events also play a distinctly unique and potent role. They command global attention, transcending diverse cultures, languages, and belief systems. When carefully chosen symbols, subtle images, or specific messages appear within these highly visible spaces, they effectively reach countless individuals who might otherwise never actively seek out alternative discussions or unconventional perspectives. For this specific reason, such events often convey subtle signals rather than explicit, overt statements. A briefly displayed symbol, for instance, can lodge itself in collective memory far more effectively and persistently than a lengthy, didactic speech. As the disclosure process accelerates, human reactions will naturally vary widely and profoundly. Some will respond with unbridled excitement, others with ingrained skepticism, still others with wry humor, some with intense anger, and many will simply choose silence. Each individual response represents a distinct and personal way of processing profound change. Your essential task as light bearers is not to correct every single reaction, but rather to patiently create a safe and empathetic space where these diverse reactions can gradually soften and evolve over time. When people feel genuinely safe, they're far more likely to ask better, more insightful questions. A highly beneficial question to pose to yourself during this period is, what specific tone am I consciously carrying into these crucial conversations? Tone, profoundly, teaches more than mere facts. A calm and measured tone invariably invites active listening. A mocking or derisive tone inexorably closes doors to understanding. A fearful tone spreads pervasive unease. A steady, consistent tone, however, effectively becomes a resilient bridge. In this manner, you become an integral part of the disclosure process simply by the mindful way you choose to speak and communicate. There's also a profound, multidimensional aspect to this overarching shift that can be articulated with striking simplicity. When collective belief undergoes a fundamental transformation, the shared field of collective expectation also inherently changes. And when collective expectation shifts, lived experience itself reorganizes in response. That is why disclosure often feels like so much more than the mere transmission of information. It feels like a palpable alteration in the very atmosphere of your world. People instinctively sense that something is profoundly different, even if they cannot precisely articulate or name it. That powerful feeling is not a mere figment of imagination. It is collective perception diligently adjusting to encompass a wider, more expansive frame of reality. As more credible witnesses courageously speak out, momentum inexorably builds. When a sufficient number of people observe similar phenomena, hear resonant stories, or notice identical language patterns, the extraordinary effort required to maintain outdated explanations significantly increases. At a certain critical juncture, managing the established narrative becomes demonstrably harder than simply allowing it to organically evolve. It is precisely at this point that disclosure accelerates not through brute force, but through the overwhelming power of saturation. Many disparate pieces of the puzzle, once scattered, eventually reorganize themselves into a coherent, new frame of understanding. During this transformative time, always remember that your daily life retains its paramount importance. Disclosure is emphatically not intended to pull you away from cherished relationships, essential responsibilities, or the sacred act of caring for one another. It is designed, instead, to expand your context, not to erase your fundamental foundation. You do not need to physically inhabit the sky to understand its boundless nature. You only need to permit your ingrained idea of reality to become wider, more inclusive, and infinitely more encompassing. Allow me to offer simple, yet profound, guidance for gracefully navigating this phase. Speak simply and clearly when attempting to explain unfamiliar ideas, because transparent, concise words travel far more effectively than convoluted, complex theories. Offer one new idea at a time, allowing others ample opportunity to absorb it without feeling overwhelmed by pressure or information overload. Cultivate deep compassion for disbelief, because often disbelief serves as a protective mechanism, shielding individuals from the profound discomfort of feeling utterly overwhelmed. Observe carefully scripted narratives and make a conscious note of how pervasive repetition skillfully trains acceptance without ever truly requiring genuine belief. Choose conversations that demonstrably build understanding and connection rather than those that needlessly drain your energy in fruitless arguments. Allow evidence and lived experience to unfold naturally instead of prematurely rushing to final, definitive conclusions. Embrace the concept of a larger, more wondrous universe, while simultaneously continuing to care deeply and passionately for the rich tapestry of daily human life. From the elevated perspective of the light fleets, disclosure is akin to a door, and such doors are invariably opened with steady, deliberate hands. A concentrated 6-month window brings numerous, significant signs closer into focus, thereby making patterns much easier to recognize and comprehend. True understanding flourishes when hearts remain soft and open, and language remains unequivocally clear. Now, the ongoing story of your moon represents one of the clearest and most effective bridges your world is currently employing to introduce larger, more profound truths to the public mind without causing it undue shock or overwhelm. Throughout your recorded timelines, the moon has consistently been far more than a mere rock orbiting in the sky. It deeply holds memory, rich symbolism, and an enduring sense of mystery. It resides close enough to your planet to feel intimately familiar, while simultaneously appearing as the evocative edge of the profound unknown. Within the next season of disclosure, the lunar narrative becomes particularly useful for one primary reason: it skillfully allows governments, various agencies, and public institutions to cautiously yet incrementally reveal profound truths, unveiling facets of previously concealed capabilities, all while steadfastly maintaining a tone that is both rigorously scientific and reassuringly secure. This meticulously crafted approach inherently facilitates broader public acceptance, thereby resonating more effortlessly with the vast majority of individuals. Indeed, many among you have already keenly observed a distinct evolution in the discourse surrounding Earth's natural satellite, the Moon, over the past few years. The recurring utterance of phrases like returning to the moon has become remarkably prevalent. However, for an extended period, humanity has harbored an intrinsic intuition that the complete narrative regarding lunar endeavors remained fragmented and undisclosed. While official missions are presented as groundbreaking new accomplishments, astute listeners may detect subtle linguistic nuances that occasionally hint at pre-existing groundwork, as if certain elements are merely awaiting activation rather than being conjured entirely from scratch. There is no necessity to engage in contentious debates about historical veracity to grasp the unfolding realities of the present, for the current epoch inherently illuminates its own discernible patterns. What we are witnessing is a deliberate and progressive reframing of the public narrative concerning space, orchestrated to ensure that a more comprehensive disclosure can ultimately transpire with significantly reduced societal shock. It is imperative to reflect upon the strategic rationale behind selecting the moon as the pivotal focal point for this process of public acclimatization. The concept of deep space in its sheer vastness often registers as profoundly remote, even unfathomable, to many individuals. It evokes a sense of otherworldliness, appearing far too alien for widespread public embrace. Moreover, any direct and frank discussion concerning truly advanced spacecraft carries the inherent risk of simultaneously provoking both profound apprehension and dismissive mockery. In stark contrast, the moon, our celestial neighbor, projects an undeniable aura of proximity, attainability, and pragmatic potential qualities that position it as the consummate stage for the multi-layered unveiling of disclosure. Initially, the collective consciousness of humanity is gently reacquainted with its inherent capacity for transcending the familiar confines of low Earth orbit. Following this, the public is progressively introduced to innovative capsules, state-of-the-art rockets, and sophisticated new life support systems, all artfully presented as clear markers of human ingenuity and forward momentum. Subsequently, the aspiration of a sustained lunar presence is formally articulated as a primary objective, and it is through this pivotal step that the notions of establishing permanent bases and extensive infrastructure transform from speculative concepts into commonplace discussion. As these lunar outposts become subjects of ordinary conversation, the integration of truly advanced technological paradigms becomes considerably more straightforward, precisely because the inquisitive human mind naturally begins to formulate the most pertinent inquiries. Questions such as how would one effectively provision such a base? What mechanisms would be required for its robust protection? How could vital cargo be transported with optimal efficiency? And what methodologies would enable swift and scalable construction? It is within this unfolding context, amidst these practical considerations, that the initial revelations regarding highly advanced craft begin to subtly emerge. Should the public be encouraged to embrace the notion that conventional rockets alone suffice to accomplish all ambitious spacefaring endeavors, a substantial portion will undoubtedly acquiesce, primarily due to their long-standing societal conditioning. Yet, a more discerning segment will invariably pose a quiet, yet fundamental, query: why does the presented technology continue to bear such a striking resemblance to mere adaptations of antiquated methodologies, particularly when your civilization has evidently achieved so much more sophisticated mastery behind impenetrable classified barriers. As time progresses, the overarching public narrative is slated to gradually incorporate revolutionary concepts such as novel propulsion mechanisms, groundbreaking materials, innovative energy sources, and sophisticated new maneuvering systems. These emerging linguistic constructs are not merely semantic shifts, rather. They serve as crucial stepping stones toward a more profound underlying reality that the epic of genuinely advanced spacecraft has long flourished within clandestine programs. And the process of disclosure is now steadily advancing towards a critical phase where these concealed fragments can at last be systematically brought into the illuminating light of public awareness. A segment of you will undoubtedly discern a meticulously orchestrated sequence of events initially. A public mission is officially declared, followed by the establishment of a clear, publicly disseminated timeline subsequently. Media outlets ceaselessly reiterate consistent phrases until these concepts become utterly commonplace and unremarkable. Then, an artfully managed surprise materializes which could manifest as an official statement, a revealing image, a specific technical assertion, or perhaps a subdued yet significant admission confirming that particular capabilities have, in fact, been operationalized for some time. This methodical process illustrates precisely how a civilization is gradually acclimated to embrace what it once vehemently repudiated. This phenomenon does not signify an inherent fragility within humanity, rather, it stems from the profound effects of persistent conditioning, and such ingrained conditioning necessitates an exceedingly cautious and deliberate unwinding. Within this intricate process of unveiling, SpaceX emerges as a profoundly pivotal actor functioning not merely as a commercial enterprise, but also powerfully as a symbolic representation. SpaceX embodies the virtues of unparalleled velocity, the nimble responsiveness inherent to the private sector, and the transformative concept that groundbreaking innovation can indeed flourish independently of conventional governmental frameworks and presentations. For the collective public consciousness, this particular narrative evokes a sense of both exhilaration and heightened security, distinguishing itself favorably from military-led disclosures because its efforts are perceived as inherently entrepreneurial and driven by progress, rather than purely strategic or geopolitical. When SpaceX articulates its vision of fully reusable rockets, champions methodologies of rapid iteration, and sets forth ambitious timelines, it effectively reconditions societal perceptions, fostering an acceptance that space exploration is once more a dynamic and vibrant domain. Furthermore, its operations forge a conceptual bridge, enabling people to readily envision frequent cargo deliveries, the deployment of specialized construction modules, and the routine occurrence of multiple launches as entirely commonplace, thereby rendering a sustained, permanent lunar presence as an undeniable inevitability, rather than an insurmountable impossibility. However, another crucial dimension significant for the advancement of disclosure lies in SpaceX's unparalleled capacity to normalize the concept of extensive, large-scale space infrastructure. This is accomplished in a manner that governmental agencies, acting in isolation, simply could not replicate, primarily because individuals inherently place greater credence in the tangible narrative of a pioneering builder than in the often abstract pronouncements of an established institution. As this process of normalization gains increasing traction, the general populace becomes progressively less startled, and indeed more accepting, of the prospects of colossal structures, covert programs, and continuous, multifaceted operations extending far beyond Earth's atmospheric confines. To articulate this succinctly, SpaceX is instrumental in catalyzing a profound metamorphosis within the collective imagination, transitioning it from viewing space as an infrequent and extraordinary occurrence to perceiving it as a dynamic and continuously evolving living domain. This profound ideological shift, in turn, forms the indispensable cornerstone for all subsequent developments. In parallel with these developments, the establishment of the Space Force conveys a distinct and profoundly different type of strategic signaling. Far from being a mere administrative rebranding of pre-existing departments, the Space Force fundamentally functions as a publicly visible vessel for a realm that was previously discussed solely in hushed tones and veiled illusions. Its very inception and overt presence unequivocally communicate to the public, in full view, that outer space is now unambiguously recognized as a domain of paramount strategic significance, an arena where robust protection, comprehensive surveillance, and swift responsive capabilities are not merely desirable, but absolutely essential. Once the general populace assents to the premise that the cosmos mandates a vigilant defensive posture, it becomes considerably less challenging to progressively introduce the potentially startling notions that unconventional craft indeed navigate these realms, that unidentified entities might be actively present, and that truly advanced technological prowess is unequivocally pertinent to safeguarding such a vital frontier. Furthermore, the Space Force serves a critical auxiliary role as a custodian, or indeed a guardian, of the disclosure process itself. In instances where particular technologies are deemed excessively sensitive to be transparently presented as civilian innovations, they can instead be recontextualized and justified under the umbrella of defense imperative. This strategic reframing often represents the initial pathway through which many profound truths are first introduced into the collective public consciousness, not as miraculous breakthroughs or sudden revelations, but rather as indispensable and essential capabilities. Consequently, the prevailing linguistic landscape will predictably begin to evolve, gravitating towards terminology that inherently implies sophisticated maneuvers, advanced tracking methodologies transcending the boundaries of conventional physics, and the detection of anomalous objects exhibiting behaviors fundamentally unlike those of traditional, human-made craft. Initially, such pronouncements will be characterized by deliberate caution, yet with consistent repetition, they will inexorably transition into common, everyday discourse. And it is precisely these routine, recurrent statements that ultimately serve as the authentic, driving engine of societal normalization. Let us now, with unreserved clarity and in the most straightforward terms, discuss the subject of advanced craft disclosure. These advanced craft are, fundamentally, vehicles capable of locomotion and performance that substantially defy the explanatory frameworks of your contemporary mainstream science. They possess the astonishing ability to accelerate without any discernible or visible propulsion mechanisms that your current understanding would anticipate. Furthermore, they can execute abrupt changes in direction, entirely unburdened by the inertial forces that you've been rigorously instructed to expect. Their capacity to manifest and vanish in manners that appear utterly impossible from a conventional perspective is also well documented. Indeed, your world has already amassed considerable data unequivocally indicating these extraordinary behaviors, and a growing number of individuals in positions of authority are now prepared to openly acknowledge these facts, primarily because the sheer proliferation of sophisticated sensors, advanced cameras, and credible witnesses renders past denials increasingly untenable. The moon, in this context, assumes a paramount centrality, for it provides an ideal platform and a compelling pretext for the introduction of novel propulsion systems, discreetly presented under the guise of practical necessity. Envisioning a lunar base immediately highlights its inherent requirements: a robust network of supply lines, comprehensive protective measures, the capacity for swift intervention in emergency scenarios, and crucially, the ability to transport vital equipment without recourse to an interminable series of launches. As the public gradually internalizes these fundamental logistical imperatives, the concept of embracing innovative propulsion technologies transforms from an unsettling prospect into an eminently practical solution. This, in essence, encapsulates the frequent modus operandi of disclosure. It deftly pivots the public discourse from the abstract and often contentious question of "do you believe in UFOs?" to the concrete and problem-oriented inquiry of what specific technology offers an optimal solution to the undeniably pressing challenge we are currently addressing. In the forthcoming phase of this unfolding narrative, you are likely to observe several distinct and unique facets of disclosure gradually revealing themselves through the overarching lunar story. Firstly, expect a noticeable linguistic metamorphosis, shifting from the rhetoric of mere exploration to the pragmatic lexicon of infrastructure transition, where public agencies will increasingly focus less on symbolic acts like flag planting and more on the concrete realities of energy systems, sustainable habitats, resource extraction mining, and advanced construction methodologies. This emphasis on infrastructure inherently serves as an implicit invitation for public acceptance that extensive, long-duration operations are either meticulously planned or are, in fact, already actively in progress. Secondly, a heightened degree of strategic coordination between diverse entities or brands will likely become apparent. Civic enterprises, governmental bodies, and defense frameworks will seem conspicuously aligned, articulating consistent, parallel thematic messages even as they ostensibly maintain separate identities. When such unified messaging permeates across disparate sectors, it typically signifies the methodical implementation of a more expansive and carefully orchestrated grand design. Thirdly, anticipate the casual mention of previously unheralded support technologies, breakthroughs in advanced communication, substantial advancements in energy efficiency, innovative shielding concepts, and significant leaps forward in material science. Individually, each of these might appear minor, yet collectively, they subtly converge to point toward the comprehensive, integrated suite of hidden technological capabilities. Fourthly, prepare for the dissemination of novel imagery and fresh discoveries, which, while officially presented as newly emergent, will strike those who have diligently followed this subject for years as oddly familiar. This is a key mechanism by which the collective public narrative is subtly recalibrated. Long-held truths are systematically reintroduced as if they are brand new revelations, thereby enabling the public mind to assimilate them without the emotional weight or psychological burden of perceived historical deception. Fifthly, anticipate subtle yet significant shifts in the discourse surrounding non-human intelligence, moving away from alarmist, fear-driven invasion scenarios and evolving into a measured, thoughtful acknowledgement that the cosmos is indeed teeming with life, and that not every aerial phenomenon observed in your skies is attributable to your terrestrial governments. As this lexicon of acknowledgement becomes increasingly normalized, direct contact narratives will naturally elicit less shock and apprehension, with genuine curiosity progressively supplanting knee-jerk, reflexive denial. Dearest ones, the profound essence of this supplementary discourse transcends mere discussions of technological apparatus. It fundamentally resides within the human heart. This is because the process of disclosure extends far beyond the unveiling of advanced vehicles. It is, at its core, a redefinition of identity itself. It radically alters fundamental human perceptions of who they are, what they deem achievable, and what boundaries they consider permissible. Therefore, allow me to present a series of contemplative inquiries designed to assist you in navigating these revelations with profound wisdom. When confronted with yet another headline proclaiming humanity's return to the moon, do you experience an initial surge of wonder, a pang of skepticism, or perhaps a sense of weary fatigue? And are you capable of embracing all three of these nuanced reactions without succumbing to emotional extremes? When you encounter reports detailing SpaceX's accelerating pace of construction and innovation, do your perceptions remain confined solely to the rockets themselves, or do you also perceive the underlying societal conditioning that is progressively renormalizing the concept of active space engagement? When your thoughts turn to the Space Force, do you immediately conjure images of cumbersome bureaucracy, or do you intuit its function as a transparent conduit, a public gateway to profound truths that were previously constrained from open articulation? When faint murmurs of advanced craft reach your awareness, does fear grip your being, or do you instead feel a quiet sense of relief, a recognition that humanity is at last transcending an arbitrarily imposed sense of limitation and insignificance? In essence, the unfolding lunar narrative acts as proverbial training wheels for the much grander bicycle of full disclosure. It gently guides the public in assimilating novel concepts without inducing widespread panic. It meticulously introduces complex technological subjects in a gradual manner, thereby rendering them approachable and discussable even at the most mundane of dinner tables. It expansively opens the floodgates of imagination to embrace a far wider cosmic neighborhood, allowing the human heart to broaden its capacity for understanding without fracturing under the strain. Crucially, it meticulously paves the way for the revelation of advanced craft, presenting it as an inescapable necessity rather than an abrupt and disorienting shock. Therefore, assume your role in this unfolding gently and with grace. Articulate your insights in clear, straightforward sentences. Present ideas one at a time, allowing individuals the space and freedom to process them at their own unique rhythm. Choose the path of serene curiosity over contentious argumentation. Always remember that the most significant disclosure is not merely the appearance of an advanced craft in the sky, but rather the profound realization of a humanity that finally recalls its inherent belonging within a vast and interconnected family of life. And so, as this addendum reaches its conclusion, I impart to you a solitary, yet profound, truth. The moon is not merely a distant destination it functions, rather, as an expansive mirror. And what you perceive reflected within its depths is nothing less than the subsequent iteration of your collective human story and narrative expanded, imbued with profound honesty, and finally poised for unparalleled growth. Genuine peace deepens through the enactment of resolute choices, and profound love truly strengthens when it is consciously lived out within the fabric of ordinary, everyday moments. Dearest guardians of this planetary home, I extend my communication to you in this present moment as this profound transmission continues to unravel, precisely because the subsequent layer of understanding is inextricably linked to the phenomena you are already actively witnessing and processing. Within this identical 6-month time frame, concurrent with significant financial transformations and the overarching themes of disclosure, an additional, distinct pattern is emerging with increasing clarity and ease of recognition: the premeditated deployment of tactics involving deliberate distraction, calculated disruption, and emotionally charged public presentations, or optics. While this particular pattern is by no means an entirely novel phenomenon in your world, it is during this specific epoch that it amplifies in intensity, sheds its prior subtlety, and escalates in frequency. By cultivating a foundational, straightforward comprehension of these dynamics, you possess the innate capacity to navigate this period with unwavering steadfastness, rather than being dislodged from your equilibrium. Across your terrestrial landscapes, specific junctures will emerge when a multitude of gazes are simultaneously fixed upon a singular event. Significant athletic spectacles, dynamic live televised transmissions, impactful political addresses, and widespread entertainment programs will abruptly feature unexpected interruptions, distinctive auditory tones, vividly colored display screens, cryptic text messages, or evocative symbolic imagery. A portion of these occurrences will dissipate rapidly, conveniently attributed to technical malfunctions or standard operational diagnostics. However, others will persist sufficiently long to ignite widespread public conversation, fuel fervent speculation, and elicit a spectrum of visceral emotional responses. The intrinsic significance of these precisely timed occurrences resides not in their purported evidentiary value, but rather in their profound capacity to modulate and redirect collective attention. Indeed, attention stands as the preeminent, most vital catalyst within any system designed to exert influence. Where the current of attention is deliberately guided, there too, energy inevitably converges. And where energy consistently converges, deeply held beliefs are systematically cultivated and strengthened. Throughout this designated time frame, you will observe persistent, concerted efforts to abruptly divert collective attention, often propelled by elements of unexpected shock or deliberate bewilderment. A comprehensive understanding of this manipulative dynamic empowers you to disengage with conscious detachment, rather than reacting impulsively. A significant number among you are acutely attuned to recurring patterns of transmission interruptions that frequently appear uncannily timed. Some of these disruptions manifest during pivotal political addresses, others during high-stakes sporting competitions, and still others precisely at junctures when millions of viewers are already riveted. Observers often draw parallels between these peculiar moments and prior online communications, cryptic codes, or significant symbolic numerals, thus superimposing layers of interpretive meaning onto what might otherwise be considered mere coincidences. It is not incumbent upon you to definitively ascertain whether these perceived connections are the product of deliberate intent or happenstance to maintain your internal equilibrium. What truly holds paramount importance is the nature of your intrinsic emotional and psychological response. Concurrently, public discourse is demonstrably broadening to encompass technologies that were once relegated to obscurity. The concept of weather modification, for instance, is now making its way into mainstream popular discussion. Terms such as cloud seeding, drones, and silver iodide are openly articulated by official authorities and corporate entities. Furthermore, novel agents and methodologies are being explicitly identified, complete with dates and operational schedules that keen observers meticulously note and track. For a segment of the population, these revelations evoke considerable alarm. For others, they serve as powerful validation. For everyone, however, this phenomenon undeniably engenders a palpable emotional stir. The weather itself is progressively becoming a central nexus for emotional engagement. Reports of unusually heavy snowfall, severe and powerful storms, inexplicable atmospheric patterns, and abrupt climatic shifts consistently dominate news headlines. While some individuals interpret these occurrences as engineered phenomena, others view them as components of natural, cyclical processes. Critically, both interpretations inevitably stir strong feelings, and feeling, it must be underscored, constitutes the primary conduit through which influence is ultimately conveyed. When powerful emotions are intensely aroused, the capacity for clear, rational discernment can become significantly clouded unless a state of internal calm is assiduously preserved. Simultaneously, a discernible transformation in the language surrounding military capabilities is manifesting. Official reports are now articulating, with greater candor and directness, details pertaining to advanced systems, explicitly encompassing sophisticated directed energy instruments and cutting-edge rapid response technological solutions. Moreover, public demonstrations of these capabilities are increasingly being showcased on accessible public platforms, no longer veiled as closely guarded secrets, but rather presented forthrightly as established realities of technological existence. This evolving linguistic framework itself functions as a potent mechanism for cultivating public acceptance through sheer reiteration. When a particular concept or phenomenon is referenced with sufficient regularity and a composed demeanor, it inevitably loses its capacity to provoke surprise or apprehension, even if, at a prior juncture, it appeared utterly beyond the realm of possibility. This fundamentally illustrates the intricate dynamics of optics. Optics, it must be understood, are not merely employed as a means of obscuring or concealing truth. Their more profound purpose is to meticulously choreograph and influence the manner in which truth is absorbed and comprehended by the collective. An abrupt, unfiltered revelation possesses the inherent potential to overwhelm and destabilize. Conversely, a measured, gradual disclosure is masterfully capable of instigating normalization. Both of these distinct methodological approaches are demonstrably in play, and during this specific time frame, you may indeed observe their deployment in parallel. Furthermore, the phenomenon of disruption also manifests through the re-emergence of familiar narratives that periodically resurface in the public consciousness. Accounts related to electoral technologies, for instance, are perpetually brought back into focused discussions involving foreign centers of operation, various vendors, and alleged influence operations are reiterated, at times presented with novel interpretive frameworks, and at other times simply recycling previously utilized terminology. Each such cyclical return inevitably reawakens both collective memory and a range of associated emotions. Moreover, each reignition of these discussions implicitly compels individuals to reconsider where they ought to vest their trust. In this particular context, once again, your unwavering internal steadiness holds significantly greater importance than the specific conclusions you might draw. A portion of you will undoubtedly perceive symbolic allusions that, while appearing superficially whimsical or playful, are imbued with far more profound underlying significance. A memorable line from a celebrated film, perhaps about a magic word, might suddenly transform into a widespread, shared cultural jest. The concept of complex systems being momentarily deactivated and subsequently reactivated gradually infiltrates everyday, casual conversation. Digital screens may briefly flicker to black before regaining their display. Distinctive auditory tones might resonate momentarily and then subtly diminish. For some, these ephemeral moments register as knowing winks or coded acknowledgments. For others, they're dismissed as mere ambient noise. Both of these subjective responses are entirely capable of coexisting without engendering conflict. The paramount lesson to grasp here is this: disruptive events are frequently engineered with the explicit intention of curtailing sustained attention and amplifying emotional volatility. When emotional arousal escalates rapidly, the faculty of critical discernment invariably attenuates. And when discernment weakens, individuals become considerably more susceptible to manipulation and guidance. This observation is not intended as a pejorative judgment of intelligence. Rather, is an inherent operational characteristic of human psychology when subjected to significant pressure. Possessing this knowledge, therefore, bestows upon you a profound sense of intrinsic freedom. Furthermore, you might increasingly perceive that these disruptive occurrences are manifesting with considerably less concealment than in preceding eras. In times gone by, the exercise of influence was typically shrouded in an intricate veil of secrecy and clandestine operations. Presently, however, influence is frequently wielded openly, often in full public view. Outright public admissions are now supplanting categorical denials, and comprehensive explanations are taking the place of pervasive silence. This evolution does not, by any means, imply that all explanations furnished are exhaustive or entirely transparent. Rather, it signifies a fundamental pivot in the modality of control, shifting from outright obfuscation to a more sophisticated strategy of narrative shaping. During this transformative period, the purpose driven by light is to foster clarity without succumbing to chaos. Clarity inherently encourages deeper understanding, whereas chaos inevitably fragments trust and cohesion. Conversely, the shadow-oriented methodology deliberately cultivates confusion precisely because a state of bewilderment dissipates collective attention and significantly undermines cooperative endeavors. It is critical to recognize that both these opposing forces operate through identical channels of communication and influence. The crucial distinction between them resides entirely in their underlying intention and their prevailing tone. You can discern this fundamental difference by attentively observing how your inner state, your intrinsic sense of being, responds to each. An eminently practical and beneficial method for navigating this intricate period involves conceptualizing noise in a manner analogous to meteorological phenomena. You certainly observe its presence. You may prepare judiciously, and you might gently modify your plans should circumstances necessitate it. However, you do not engage in futile arguments with the sky itself. You do not succumb to widespread panic merely because clouds temporarily obscure the sun. Instead, you steadfastly maintain your inner equilibrium, your centeredness, even as external conditions undergo flux and transformation. In this context, the cultivation of community assumes an extraordinarily vital significance, acting as a potent stabilizing field. A collective sense of shared tranquility significantly diminishes the pervasive influence and propagation of widespread fear signals. Simple, heartfelt conversations founded upon genuine kindness serve to re-anchor individuals firmly within the familiar rhythms of their daily existence. Acts as straightforward as sharing a meal, taking a leisurely stroll, or collaborating on a common task, these seemingly mundane actions quietly, yet powerfully, counteract the impact of large-scale, orchestrated public presentations. They serve as profound reminders to both the physical body and the discerning mind that the fundamental continuum of life persists. Allow me now to pose a series of gentle inquiries intended to stimulate thoughtful self-reflection rather than impulsive reaction. When an abrupt, loud interruption manifests, what is your initial internal response? Do you hastily scramble to interpret its meaning, or do you consciously pause to simply feel the steady rhythm of your breath? When a dramatic, attention-grabbing headline begins to proliferate, do you feel an overwhelming compulsion to disseminate it instantly, or do you wisely elect to observe its trajectory and allow it to settle before responding? When a wave of widespread confusion arises, do you desperately seek certainty at any cost, or are you capable of permitting the state of not knowing to simply exist for a period? Throughout this designated time frame, the prevailing intensity of events might indeed feel as though it is being deliberately engineered, as if numerous interdependent levers are being manipulated simultaneously. Media-generated static and clamor will surge. Political rhetoric will become increasingly incisive. Entertainment content will assume markedly symbolic dimensions. Meteorological events will conspicuously command public attention, and technological announcements will rapidly accelerate. This cumulative, stacking effect profoundly amplifies collective emotional responses. Nevertheless, this very intensity also possesses the remarkable capacity to yield profound clarity, particularly when observed with a composed and tranquil demeanor. The most fundamental truth I offer you at this juncture is unequivocally this: your ultimate power resides in the conscious direction of your attention. Attention serves as the potent sustenance for narratives. Attention is the driving force that galvanizes movements. Attention has the power to either fortify existing fears or, conversely, to utterly dissolve them. By consciously selecting where your attention is placed and allowed to linger, you actively participate in shaping the energetic field that encompasses you. To assist you in maintaining internal alignment amidst this influx of converging signals, consider these practical strategies. Prepare a modest, actionable contingency plan for potential power outages or network disruptions, including, for instance, printed contact information and essential basic provisions, without allowing this sensible preparation to devolve into fear-driven anxiety. Opt for infrequent, deliberate news consumption, subsequently redirecting your focus to your responsibilities and sources of joy, recognizing that incessant monitoring invariably elevates stress levels. Observe any symbolic messages embedded within mass public events, then consciously release them, ensuring they do not unduly dominate your daily experience. Cultivate and engage in gentle, empathetic conversation, for serene voices prove far more efficacious in diminishing the propagation of alarm than does contentious argumentation. Deliberately anchor yourselves in consistent daily routines, such as regular meals, contemplative walks, and adequate rest, understanding that predictable rhythms are foundational for fostering internal stability. Offer practical assistance within your local community whenever feasible, for tangible acts of kindness dissolve panic with greater expediency than theoretical debates. Maintain a broad, long-term perspective, consistently recalling that spectacles of heightened public optics are often designed to be transient. From our vantage point, the disruptive elements inherently lose their potency when collective attention is rigorously disciplined and individual hearts remain resolute. Heightened intensity need not equate to sensory overload. Increased pressure need not invariably translate into paralyzing fear. A concentrated period of focused activity can indeed feel immensely demanding, yet it also possesses the potential to swiftly dissipate mental and emotional fog, provided you consciously choose to remain present. The singular wisdom imparted during this phase is both straightforward and profoundly resonant. Breathe deeply, observe objectively, deliberately choose calm, and act with meticulous care. When you embody this way of living, you become a quiet, yet formidable, counterweight to widespread confusion. And when a sufficient number among you embrace this practice, the pervasive reach of manipulation will intrinsically diminish. We proceed from this point, progressively constructing layer upon intricate layer of deeper comprehension, undertaking this process deliberately, devoid of any undue haste, without resorting to forceful imposition, and always steadfastly retaining sight of the paramount importance of everyday existence. We now accompany you into an even more profound stratum of understanding. For this specific segment of the overarching narrative elucidates precisely why such a multitude of indications appear to be uneven, markedly contradictory, and strikingly uncoordinated throughout this identical 6-month interval. Across the global expanse of your world, countless individuals have intuitively sensed that the familiar patterns of exerted pressure no longer exhibit the consistent assurance or meticulous precision that characterized them previously. And this prevailing sentiment is not a mere figment of collective imagination, rather, it is a direct and undeniable observation. During this pivotal period, the very structures that historically wielded intimidation and maintained control at the uppermost echelons are perceptibly beginning to innervate, to strategically retreat, or to recede into silence, and the cascading ramifications of these shifts are manifesting in overtly visible ways. Through the application of serene language and a steadfast explanation, I implore you to envision a straightforward analogy. When a dominant predator vacates a particular territory, the smaller, formerly suppressed creatures within that ecosystem instinctively scatter, engage in emergent competition, and in doing so, conspicuously reveal their true natures. In numerous spiritual and disclosure-oriented communities, individuals employ a diverse array of terminologies to designate these uppermost command strata. Some refer to clandestine elites possessing exceptionally advanced technologies. Others speak of non-human or hybrid hierarchical systems, while still others describe ancient, deeply entrenched power structures operating far above conventional governmental bodies and established institutions. While the specific nomenclature may indeed vary, the observable consequential effect consistently remains analogous across these diverse descriptions, a noticeable attenuation of coordination at the apex, concurrent with an escalating sense of bewilderment and disarray within the lower tiers, rather than engaging in the unproductive endeavor of debating precise labels. Genuine wisdom arises from the diligent observation of manifest behavior. Throughout this time frame, messages designed to instill fear frequently manifest as brief, sharp, intense bursts, instead of taking the form of sustained, meticulously planned campaigns. This characteristic pattern emphatically discloses an underlying state of tension, rather than a position of robust strength. When leadership is genuinely stable, the transmitted message is invariably consistent and carefully measured. However, when leadership itself is experiencing disruption, the message inevitably becomes reactive, amplified in volume, and distinctly less polished or refined. You might detect abrupt impulses of heightened urgency suddenly followed by inexplicable silence, audacious assertions swiftly succeeded by overt reversals, and tones of confident conviction gradually yielding to hesitant improvisation. These pronounced shifts are undeniably symptomatic of a power vacuum, vociferously expressing its chaotic presence through the pervasive backdrop of noise. For many individuals operating within these entrenched systems, who have long been accustomed to a rigid, top-down command structure, this discernible weakening and withdrawal of central authority is engendering profound disorientation and escalating uncertainty. Indeed, this unfolding juncture feels undeniably more laden with trepidation and an unsettling sense of apprehension than with any genuine feeling of accomplishment or celebratory triumph. Those individuals who once found steadfast assurance in the clarity of explicit directives now find themselves navigating a profound and disorienting sea of uncertainty. Similarly, those who meticulously adhere to established protocols and rules as their very means of survival are now compelled to critically reevaluate where true safety and security might genuinely reside. It is precisely at such times that the cultivation of profound compassion becomes not merely an option, but an absolute imperative, for it must be recognized that within the complex architectures of any given structure, not every individual freely chose their designated role or indeed their ultimate purpose, often finding themselves within circumstances beyond their initial intent. True enough, the wellspring of fear is not invariably rooted in overt malice or deliberate ill will. Rather, with alarming frequency, its genesis can be traced directly to profound instability, a pervasive sense of precariousness that unsettles foundations. Simultaneously, amidst this unfolding narrative, new complexities emerge as internal divisions intensify and fractures propagate within previously solid, venerable networks. A distinct and observable shift sees the primal instinct for self-preservation progressively eclipsing the once steadfast bonds of loyalty, asserting its dominance with an ever-increasing force. Consequently, the flow of confidential information becomes notably less contained, leaking with greater ease simply because fewer overseeing entities are left to rigorously maintain the stringent discipline of secrecy. Furthermore, a proliferation of glaring contradictions arises, a direct consequence of disparate factions, each vehemently advocating for and pushing their own distinct and often conflicting narratives. The broader public, even without the precise vocabulary or analytical framework to articulate the specific reasons, intuitively senses a deep-seated disequilibrium, a pervasive sense that something is profoundly amiss. And it is precisely this intuitive, rather than intellectual, perception that serves as one of the clearest and most unequivocal markers of a profound societal or structural transition currently underway. During this period, you may find an increasing number of voices presenting themselves to the collective consciousness as indispensable saviors or as final, unquestionable authorities. Some will undoubtedly speak with a commanding and resounding loudness, offering tantalizing certainty and reassuring stability in direct exchange for unquestioning and absolute obedience. Others, conversely, will cunningly cloak their intentions in language that feels comforting and familiar, employing subtly deceptive rhetoric while quietly and methodically maneuvering to secure profound control. Consequently, the development of keen and unyielding discernment becomes not just advisable, but absolutely essential, a discernment rooted not in the corrosive negativity of suspicion, but rather in the unwavering steadiness of firm, objective observation. Authentic guidance, one grounded in profound wisdom and genuine insight, intrinsically harbors no necessity for the corrosive motivators of fear, the breathless demands of urgency, or the unthinking surrender of blind loyalty, which often leads astray. Instead, true guidance unfailingly extends a gracious invitation to embrace clarity of vision, to cultivate enduring patience, and to assume full and conscious personal responsibility for one's choices and actions. Within this transformative epoch, the very tone and tenor of manipulative tactics undergo a noticeable and conspicuous alteration. Where intimidation once meticulously relied upon elaborately polished narratives and artfully unified messages, it now pivotally leverages the abruptness of shock, the visceral potency of outrage, and the volatile spikes of raw emotional intensity. Outrage, in particular, emerges as an exceptionally powerful and insidious steering tool precisely because it ruthlessly narrows an individual's mental focus, thereby drastically shortening the crucial period of reflection and considered thought. By consciously recognizing and identifying precisely when outrage is being deliberately weaponized, you actively begin to loosen its insidious grip upon your consciousness. A calm, centered, and unwavering presence effectively deprives any emergent vacuum of the volatile energy it desperately seeks to consume and harness. Within the often insular yet expansive disclosure communities, the evocative phrase reptilian leadership is frequently employed as a descriptive shorthand to characterize these deeply ingrained, predatory command layers that often operate from the shadows. Instead of fixating on the literal imagery evoked by such a phrase, it proves far more insightful to consider the underlying behaviors and operational modalities that such descriptions are fundamentally pointing towards, namely, an entrenched hierarchical domination, the systematic harvesting of emotional energy for control, and the pervasive exercise of control through the insidious propagation of fear. As various constituent parts of that established hierarchy begin to withdraw, fracture, or otherwise lose their inherent cohesion, the overarching style of control inevitably becomes less subtle, less artful, and distinctly more erratic, displaying visible signs of desperation. This precisely explains why overtly staged distractions now feel increasingly clumsy, poorly conceived, and even amateurish, and why pre-written scripts often appear rushed, poorly timed, or conspicuously out of sync with current realities. During this pivotal and unique temporal window, the profound task of reclaiming one's inner authority ascends to a paramount and central importance. When external structures of authority are in a state of flux and reorganization, it is precisely then that inner authority serves to stabilize and ground the individual. Inner authority, it must be emphasized, is not synonymous with rebellious defiance. Rather, it represents a deep and abiding self-trust, profoundly grounded in an unwavering ethical framework and a genuine, empathetic care for the well-being of others. It empowers you to listen intently and openly without ever surrendering your critical discernment, and to act decisively without becoming merely reactive to external stimuli. This intrinsically powerful quality quietly, yet effectively, permeates and spreads throughout communities, fostering a profound resilience that no form of centralized, top-down control can easily or effectively override. Some individuals will inevitably interpret this evolving vacuum as an ominous harbinger of chaos, a descent into disorder, while others will perceive it as a nascent opportunity, a fertile ground for new possibilities. Both of these distinct perceptions, however, arise from the very same underlying condition, the inherent nature of a vacuum itself. A vacuum, by its very essence, is a profound revealer. It brings to light what was previously hidden or obscured. It starkly exposes underlying motivations, puts character to the ultimate test, and extends an open invitation for entirely new forms of leadership to naturally emerge. A leadership that is characteristically quieter, demonstrably more human-centered, and significantly less driven by the antiquated imperative of domination. Media messaging during this highly volatile period frequently reflects this profound unevenness and internal tension. Scripts often stumble, confidence in delivery wavers visibly, and narratives conspicuously contradict themselves even within surprisingly short spans of time. Instead of passively consuming these rapidly shifting signals as unvarnished truth or absolute falsehood, it becomes far more valuable to observe them discerningly as critical indicators of deep-seated tension and systemic strain within old, established coordination mechanisms. The specific content of these messages ultimately matters less than the pervasive and consistent inconsistency that they betray. From our overarching perspective, the ultimate goal is unequivocally not to simply dismantle one existing hierarchy merely to replace it with another equally restrictive one. Rather, our objective is to significantly reduce systemic harm and suffering while humanity collectively navigates its transformative journey towards a more authentic and sustainable form of self-governance. This is precisely why any meaningful intervention inherently favors gradual stabilization over dramatic spectacle. A vacuum is deliberately allowed to manifest and reveal its true nature gradually, organically, and over time, thereby granting individuals sufficient time to thoughtfully adjust their perspectives and to consciously choose different, more aligned paths forward. A hasty or abrupt removal of existing structures, executed without adequate preparation or a clear vision, would regrettably only serve to invite another predatory structure to opportunistically fill the resulting void. Ethical considerations thus become especially vital and paramount during this critical phase. Simple, consistently lived ethics, practiced with integrity in daily life, possess the remarkable capacity to weaken grand-scale deception far more effectively and sustainably than any direct, confrontational approach. Honesty, cultivated and expressed within small, intimate groups, dissolves manipulative tactics more rapidly and thoroughly than even the most extensive public exposures. Firmly established community bonds and deep-seated trust will invariably outlast even the most aggressive and pervasive fear campaigns, primarily because genuine trust cannot be commanded or legislated. It must, by its very nature, be authentically earned through consistent and honorable action. As the once dense command layers gradually thin and dissipate, you may begin to notice a conspicuous increase in overtly symbolic distractions. These meticulously crafted distractions are specifically designed to redirect collective attention away from substantive structural change and toward ephemeral, often volatile, emotional reactions. By consciously choosing not to amplify these engineered distractions, you actively contribute to shortening their lifespan and diminishing their overall impact. Disciplined attention coupled invariably with genuine kindness thus emerges as an exceptionally potent and stabilizing force. Allow me to speak gently, yet profoundly, about the essence of true leadership during this pivotal time. Authentic leadership does not invariably manifest itself as a singular, imposing figure at the apex of a hierarchy. Instead, it often takes the form of countless individuals, each independently and consciously choosing integrity over the seductive allure of convenience. It visibly appears as people resolutely refusing to become conduits for the spread of panic and fear. It manifests as those who prioritize deep listening over incessant speaking, offering a quiet, anchoring presence. This particular and potent form of leadership grows organically and naturally within a vacuum, and, significantly, cannot be fabricated or artificially imposed through fear or coercion. Your profound intuition plays an especially vital and indispensable role now. When something intrinsically feels profoundly misaligned or fundamentally off, consciously notice these feelings without rushing to intellectually explain or rationalize them away. When something feels overtly staged or artificially constructed, allow that recognition to surface without feeling the immediate need to persuade or convince others of your perception. Intuition becomes remarkably clearer and more potent precisely when it is not compelled to immediately justify or defend itself. Over time, recurring patterns will invariably confirm what that silent, inner knowing initially felt and registered. Here are some firm, yet gentle, practices for navigating this transformative phase with profound clarity and conscious care. Choose one calm, unwavering principle to consciously live by each and every day, because such principles serve as invaluable guides for making decisions when conflicting narratives and confusing information abound. Observe keenly who precisely attempts to hook your attention and emotional energy with outrage, because outrage is a common and highly effective steering tool during significant power shifts. Actively support and foster transparency within your own immediate circles and communities, because quietly spoken truth, shared with authenticity, weakens grand deception far more effectively than any large-scale exposure campaigns. Practice forgiveness wherever and whenever it is safe and appropriate to do so. Cause resentment held on to fundamentally binds you to the very same antiquated structures and patterns you are striving to transcend and leave behind. Stay profoundly grounded in the practicalities of everyday life, because a solid, daily foundation actively prevents the vacuum from precipitously pulling you into unproductive abstraction or speculative detachment. Allow new, authentic leadership to emerge naturally and organically, because the most enduring and impactful leadership grows intrinsically from deep-seated trust rather than being imposed by force or coercion. Keep your heart courageously open, because futures meticulously built with genuine care and compassion last infinitely longer and are more resilient than those aggressively constructed through domination and control. A vacuum, therefore, is not something to be feared or recoiled from. It is, in its essence, a sacred space where something profoundly healthier and more aligned can organically grow and flourish, especially when met with sustained patience and mindful intention. This current 6-month window is specifically designed to reveal existing fractures and deep-seated societal fault lines with pristine clarity, thereby enabling humanity to consciously choose a different, more enlightened path forward, not through external pressure or manipulative influence, but through profound and self-directed awareness. True strength resides quietly and profoundly in love, and genuine stability organically forms through repeated, firm, and ethically grounded choices made consistently in the rich tapestry of ordinary life. We collectively move forward from this very juncture, carrying this profound understanding onward, allowing clarity to deepen without haste, without undue urgency, and, crucially, without surrendering or compromising the very essence of what fundamentally makes you human. Now, as this message continues to unfold, I invite your attention to a deeper layer that illuminates precisely why so many of you are experiencing heightened sensitivity, deeper perceptive abilities, and stronger emotional currents during this same 6-month window of profound change. In your world, the most active and influential arena is not a physical location you can precisely pinpoint on a map. Rather, it is the ethereal yet potent field of attention itself. And attention, though often underestimated, quietly and profoundly shapes your lived experience long before any external events visibly manifest or appear. Within this very period, many individuals are discovering with increasing clarity that where they consciously choose to place their focus directly determines how stable, or conversely, how unstable their days intrinsically feel. And that is precisely why a comprehensive understanding of attention evolves beyond mere theoretical discourse, becoming an indispensable form of vital protection. Through a simple yet profound explanation, allow one fundamental truth to serve as your unerring guide. Here, attention powerfully feeds patterns, and those patterns, consistently nourished, inevitably grow and strengthen. In this specific layer of experience, influence does not always manifest as explicit commands or rigidly enforced rules. Instead, it frequently arrives as subtle yet pervasive feelings that seem to arise suddenly, almost spontaneously, and then often dissipate with equally surprising speed. Some of you are noticing the emergence of emotions that do not seem tethered to a clear or immediate personal situation. They arrive without warning and often dissolve just as readily when you consciously pause and take a deep, centering breath. Others are keenly observing repeated symbols, synchronistic and timely encounters, or gentle, intuitive nudges that subtly guide your choices without any overt force or coercion. These experiences, it is crucial to understand, are not indicators of imbalance or disorder. Rather, they are unequivocal signs that your inner perception, your intrinsic intuitive faculties, are becoming increasingly available and finely tuned. As the cacophony of external noise and informational overload intensifies, a truly helpful way to conceptualize this pervasive war for attention is to imagine your mind and your life as a meticulously cultivated garden. Whatever you diligently water and nourish naturally flourishes and grows. If fear is consistently given daily watering, then fear will inevitably strengthen its hold and expand its influence. Conversely, if qualities such as kindness, gratitude, and expansive curiosity are actively given your conscious attention and energy, then those deeply resonant qualities will inevitably deepen within you and spread their beneficial influence far and wide. This is not merely a poetic metaphor, it is a profoundly lived reality, dynamically shaping your existence. During this pivotal window, myriad systems and external forces are fiercely competing for your invaluable focus because, fundamentally, focus feeds and powerfully shapes outcomes. From our perspective, the most elegant and effective defense against this onslaught is coherence. Coherence implies that your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are sufficiently aligned and pointing in the same harmonious direction often enough that you experience a profound sense of inner equilibrium and genuine alignment. Kindness actively supports coherence because it gently softens and opens inner attention, making it more receptive. Gratitude profoundly supports coherence because it stabilizes your perspective, grounding it in appreciation rather than anxiety. Clear and intentional boundaries on your attention vitally support coherence because they prevent emotional and mental overload, preserving your inner resources. These qualities are not abstract virtues to merely contemplate, rather, they are practical, actionable tools for navigating complexity. As the collective focus of humanity intensifies, the rate of inner learning and personal growth also significantly accelerates. This acceleration manifests distinctly and uniquely for each individual. Some find themselves powerfully drawn to periods of silent reflection and introspective contemplation. Others feel intuitively guided towards acts of selfless service, finding purpose in helping others. Still, others experience a renewed and profound connection to nature, discovering that spending time in the serene presence of trees, near flowing water, or under an expansive open sky brings a deep and abiding calm far more rapidly and effectively than any words or intellectual discourse. Natural places, by their very essence, carry steady, grounding rhythms, and these consistent rhythms help you effectively release what is fundamentally not yours to carry or bear. In numerous cultures, ancient stories and profound wisdom traditions speak of beings intimately connected to the earth and the natural world, and these narratives are now powerfully re-entering contemporary conversation and consciousness. While the names and specific mythologies may differ across cultures, the core message embedded within them remains remarkably similar. Earth communicates its profound wisdom primarily through its undeniable presence, not through contentious argument or intellectual debate. When you consciously slow down enough to genuinely listen with an open heart and mind, guidance frequently arrives without the need for spoken language or explicit verbal instructions. This particular form of guidance does not demand or even ask for blind belief. Instead, it simply asks for profound reverence and respect. Community gatherings that intentionally honor and cultivate this silent listening thus become essential stabilizing points because a shared, conscious intention profoundly amplifies both calm and clarity within the collective field. You may also observe a renewed and burgeoning interest in various symbols and philosophical concepts, suggesting that time itself is far more flexible, malleable, and multi-layered than conventional teachings have historically presented. Stories of intricate time travel devices, enigmatic wheels within wheels, and complex, layered timelines are increasingly appearing within popular entertainment, scientific discourse, and everyday discussions. These symbols do not necessarily require a literal, rigid interpretation to be profoundly useful or insightful. Rather, they serve to gently remind the collective consciousness that lived experience is intrinsically shaped by conscious choice, nuanced perception, and the deliberate direction of one's focus. They gently invite an expansion of imagination and possibility instead of rigidly enforcing a singular, confining certainty. Joy plays an exceptionally important and often underestimated role within this particular layer of experience. Joy is not a form of denial or escapism. It is, in its essence, a powerful and active form of resilience. When authentic joy is palpably present, fear significantly loses its persuasive power and manipulative grip precisely because fear fundamentally depends on contraction, restriction, and emotional constriction. Small, everyday joys such as the spontaneity of laughter, the shared intimacy of a meal, or the liberating expression of creative energy become silent, yet potent shields that effectively prevent undesirable influences from taking hold where they are unwelcome or uninvited. That is precisely why profound joy often manifests most powerfully in simple, unassuming moments rather than in grand, spectacular events. Some individuals speak of specific entities when attempting to describe an influence that seems to feed upon and gain energy from anger, division, or feelings of helplessness. A simpler and arguably more accessible description is to perceive these influences as dynamic patterns that inherently strengthen when provided with potent emotional fuel. They do not fundamentally require belief in their existence to function or exert influence. They primarily require repetition, the consistent reenactment of emotional spirals. By consciously refusing to repeat and perpetuate these emotional spirals, you naturally and effectively weaken those patterns and diminish their power over you. Consistently returning to the wisdom of the heart before deciding what to truly believe ensures that your discernment remains firmly rooted in profound care and conscious awareness, rather than becoming merely reactive or emotionally driven. As your inner senses become more accessible and finely tuned, some may gently experience brief, fleeting telepathic impressions, while others may encounter profoundly meaningful coincidences, synchronicity, that intuitively guide decisions without explicit rational explanation. None of these deeply personal experiences necessitate public announcement, external validation, or comparison with others. Inner knowing intrinsically strengthens with consistent, quiet use, not with outward display or performance. When you trust it quietly and privately, it becomes undeniably clearer and more precise. When you attempt to force it or demand an immediate explanation, it often becomes noisy, confused, and less reliable. Forgiveness serves as yet another powerful door that unlocks and expands inner perception. True forgiveness does not imply excusing or condoning harm. Rather, it represents a conscious and liberating release of attachment to old, lingering pain and resentment. When these old, binding emotional ties finally dissolve, your attention naturally returns to the rich immediacy of the present moment where genuine clarity and profound wisdom invariably reside. Many individuals are discovering during this window that inner forgiveness, even when external circumstances remain unchanged, brings a profound and palpable sense of relief. This invaluable relief liberates vital energy, making it available for making wiser, more aligned choices moving forward. Acts of service also function as a powerful form of protection within this intricate layer of experience. Helping others altruistically strengthens your own inherent light field and energetic coherence because service profoundly aligns your attention with a higher purpose. Purpose, in turn, grounds your perception, anchoring it in meaning. A grounded perception is inherently more resilient and resistant to external manipulation. That is precisely why simple, heartfelt acts of help such as truly listening, offering assistance, or sharing your skills carry far more intrinsic power now than even the most dramatic or attention-seeking gestures. Our consistent guidance aim remains unwavering to make the mystical profoundly practical and the spiritual elegantly simple. Inner senses are not exclusively reserved for a select few. They are an inherent and fundamental part of being human, universally accessible. They function optimally and most effectively when your life remains grounded in reality, when daily routines are consciously tended to, and when your heart courageously stays open and receptive. As more individuals choose to live in this aligned manner, collective consciousness will inevitably shift without the need for force or external coercion. Let this transformative period teach you the profound art of holding attention gently and with conscious awareness. Observe your emotions as you would clouds gracefully passing through the sky, noticing their presence, without constructing elaborate stories or attaching excessive narratives to them. Consciously release what is fundamentally not yours to carry or bear. Return consistently to what intrinsically feels steady, kind, and authentically true to your inner being. By conscientiously doing so, you yourself become a calm, unwavering anchor for those who surround you. Practical guidance for this layer can be lived with profound simplicity. Begin each morning with a quiet moment of genuine gratitude, allowing your inner tone and disposition to be consciously set before the external world begins to speak its demands. Choose one daily act of kindness, because kindness, in its quiet power, effectively dissolves invisible pressure patterns and subtle manipulation. Spend intentional time in nature whenever possible, allowing its steady, restorative rhythms to recalibrate your balance and inner harmony. Consciously reduce engagement in arguments that lead nowhere, thereby conserving your vital energy to build and create, rather than merely to resist or contend. Care for your physical body through simple, consistent routines, because physical steadiness directly supports clear thinking and discerning choices. Share hope gently and authentically, allowing others the space and freedom to approach truth at their own unique pace and readiness. Trust your inner knowing, strengthening it through consistent practice and lived experience, rather than through endless debate or intellectualization. From our perspective, humanity is profoundly remembering how to feel inwardly in a way that feels natural, grounded, and deeply integrated, rather than dramatic or sensationalized. This 6-month window rapidly sharpens awareness for those who consciously choose calm, offering profound insights without exerting pressure or coercion. Light becomes profoundly practical when it manifests as kindness in action, and peace deepens and stabilizes through firm, conscious choices made consistently in the ordinary moments of everyday life. Beloved helpers and constant companions of Earth, as this transmission reaches its final movement, I extend a heartfelt invitation for you to perceive the months spanning February to August 2026 much in the way ancient mariners once viewed the vast expanse of the sky, not as an irresistible force dictating their destiny, but rather as a comprehensive set of profound signals. These signals, interpreted with wisdom, guided them in making crucial choices: when to courageously set sail, when to securely drop anchor and find safe harbor, and when to simply rest and replenish their spirits. In your world, numerous ancient traditions have consistently understood the celestial heavens not as a stern judge meting out decrees, but rather as an intricate clock revealing divine timinga rhythmic cadence, rather than an absolute ruler. And it is in that very spirit that I now speak to you in clear, simple terms intended to gently guide your awareness without ever creating or instigating fear. Your daily life unequivocally remains sacred ground throughout this entire celestial window, and no alignment in the heavens, however profound, can ever diminish your inherent freedom or abrogate your personal responsibility. Instead, these celestial patterns merely serve to highlight powerful currents and underlying energetic flows that become far easier to consciously notice and interpret when numerous significant events tend to cluster together in time. When you consciously embrace and hold this understanding, time itself transforms into an invaluable tool for cultivating profound wisdom rather than remaining a perpetual source of anxiety and a calm. Expansive awareness becomes your most reliable and potent ally. Sidereal astrology, a venerable system that many of you encounter through older, deeply rooted stellar traditions, perceives the sky as an extensive, long-term calendar where specific periods naturally gain significant momentum and energetic potency. In the year 2026, this ancient calendar unmistakably reveals a remarkable clustering of pivotal turning points that powerfully coincide with your public event schedules, the pervasive cycles of your media, and the ebb and flow of collective human attention. The profound significance of this unique clustering lies not in its capacity for predictive entertainment or sensational forecasts, but rather in its invaluable utility for conscious preparation, which is the very essence of practical wisdom. Because a heightened awareness actively empowers you to meet periods of increased intensity with unwavering steadiness and grace, rather than being caught off guard by surprise or reactivity. During such potent windows, profound truths often emerge into public consciousness with greater ease and clarity, not because the celestial sky coercively forces their revelation, but rather because the converging currents of collective attention, shared emotion, and prevailing circumstances align in ways that significantly reduce the capacity for prolonged hiding or obfuscation. Eclipse seasons, periods that many ancient cultures have long revered and considered as powerful temporal portals, play a particularly central and influential role in this specific period. An eclipse, it is important to clarify, does not intrinsically create events by itself. Instead, its primary function is to illuminate and powerfully highlight themes that are already present and actively unfolding, effectively bringing them to the forefront of collective awareness. Revelation, dramatic reversal, and profound renewal are common and recurring threads that weave through these moments precisely because what was previously hidden, suppressed, or significantly delayed finds far less shelter or opportunity for concealment within the collective energetic field. For this very reason, these sensitive weeks often feel tangibly fuller, more energetically charged, or more emotionally vivid and impact-fuelable for those who do not actively follow or engage with astrological insights. You may keenly observe how major public gatherings and globally significant events tend to occur remarkably close to these prominent celestial markers. Major international sports tournaments, influential global conferences, highly anticipated film releases, and widely awaited public announcements frequently appear within these same celestial windows, thereby amplifying their reach, impact, and collective resonance. This is not merely a matter of random coincidence. Humanity, both consciously and subconsciously, naturally tends to schedule and inaugurate important moments when collective attention is already naturally elevated and concentrated. When attention is powerfully focused and consolidated, messages travel further and penetrate more deeply. Symbolic gestures linger longer in the collective psyche, and shared experiences indelibly shape memory with greater intensity and permanence. Understanding this underlying dynamic empowers you to observe these unfolding events with detached awareness, without being unconsciously dragged into their emotional currents or reactive narratives. From mid-June to mid-July, for example, global focus will gather with intense strength around major events that draw millions of individuals into a shared field of observation and collective listening. During these concentrated periods, dominant narratives can shift with remarkable rapidity and fluidity precisely because people are already deeply tuned in and highly receptive. A highly anticipated film release, a widely discussed and influential speech, or a potent symbolic gesture strategically placed within that current gains extra weight and profound significance simply due to its opportune timing. The truly wise response to this dynamic is not to obsessively fixate on specific dates or attempt to micromanage outcomes, but rather to recognize that these specific periods inherently call for a gentler, more deliberate pace, clearer and more precise communication, and a greater degree of mindful care and empathy in all forms of conversation and interaction. Another significant marker within this expansive window is the palpable sense of reaching a profound milestone in mid-August when a total solar eclipse brings with it the potent feeling of a definitive ending intimately interwoven with a powerful new beginning. Many individuals experience such celestial moments as deeply significant emotional thresholds even if they cannot rationally explain or articulate the precise reasons why. A highly practical application of this profound awareness is to consciously schedule dedicated space around these sensitive week space specifically for rest, for deep reflection, and for internal integration of experiences. Instead of attempting to fill every single moment with external obligations and demands, by consciously honoring this natural rhythm, you proactively work with the prevailing current instead of unconsciously struggling against it. Symbolic dates also play a critical role in how powerful messages are crafted and delivered. Throughout the annals of history, diverse groups of all kinds have meticulously chosen specific days for significant announcements, sacred ceremonies, and impactful displays precisely because symbolism itself communicates profound meaning beneath the surface of mere words. Symbols artfully bypass intellectual argument and speak directly to the sensitive, intuitive body, resonating on a deeper, precognitive level. During this influential window, symbolism becomes an integral and pervasive part of the overall message flow, appearing ubiquitously in evocative images, resonant phrases, and precise timing rather than exclusively in formal, overt statements. The crucial key is to allow these powerful symbols to inform and enrich your understanding without ever allowing them to coercively control or dictate your perceptions, always remembering that symbols intrinsically point towards deeper meaning, but never dictate the definitive answer. Gratitude and prayer in their simplest, most unadorned forms are profoundly helpful practices that align you with higher, more harmonious timing. This is because they consistently bring your attention back to what is intrinsically real, present, and authentically meaningful. Gratitude specifically tunes your awareness to the inherent harmony and abundance of the present moment, rather than binding it to anxious anticipation of the future. Prayer understood not as asking, but as silent, receptive listening, or as the articulation of sincere, heartfelt intention powerfully stabilizes your perception and grounds your awareness during periods of intense external flux. These profound practices do not magically remove challenges or difficulties from your path, however. They significantly soften their sharp edges and bring crystalline clarity to your choices, making navigation smoother. In this way, cultivating inner steadiness gracefully eases your navigation through the currents of outer time. Community becomes especially vital and indispensable during these periods of high energetic current and accelerated change. Shared calm, cultivated collectively, acts as crucial ballast in a storm-tossed boat, keeping it upright, steady, and resilient when waves of external upheaval rise dramatically. Conversations rooted in genuine kindness and mutual understanding actively prevent misunderstandings from proliferating and escalating unnecessarily. Gatherings intentionally focused on shared meaning and profound connection, rather than on speculative conjecture or divisive gossip, invariably strengthen bonds and create enduring support that will outlast any fleeting headline or sensational news cycle. A conference, a retreat, or even a small, intimate circle meeting during this window thus transforms into a vital human node and nexus where genuine understanding is freely exchanged and mutual support is powerfully reinforced. It is profoundly helpful to remember that an expanded awareness does not necessitate constant commentary, endless analysis, or relentless intellectualization. You are not explicitly asked to meticulously analyze every single symbol, to precisely decode every specific date, or to exhaustively track every celestial alignment. Often, the most skillful and wisest response is simply to notice what is unfolding, to take a deep, centering breath, and then to calmly return to the practicalities of your daily life with a little more patience, presence, and equanimity. The profound wisdom of time ultimately manifests through choices that are made calmly, consciously, and deliberately, not through a state of constant, anxious vigilance. As these months continue to unfold, you may distinctly feel your personal learning accelerating rapidly, simply because many profound openings and opportunities for growth appear concurrently. Information arrives faster, emotional responses arise more quickly and intensely, and decisions seem to carry greater inherent weight and consequence. This acceleration, while potentially feeling intense or even overwhelming, also brings with it a profound clarity, precisely because patterns that once unfolded slowly over extended periods now reveal their underlying structure and dynamics in significantly shorter intervals. When you consciously remain grounded and centered amidst this acceleration, this newfound clarity becomes a precious gift rather than an oppressive burden. Here are simple, yet profound, ways to live in conscious awareness of celestial time while simultaneously keeping your daily life steady, grounded, and authentically human. Mark a few key weeks on your calendar for quiet, introspective reflection, because effective preparation can be as straightforward as simply creating dedicated space for inner processing. Keep your plans inherently flexible, allowing ample room for sudden news or unexpected schedule changes without succumbing to stress or rigidity. Consistently use your breath and prayer or meditation as daily anchors, returning your attention inward, to your core, whenever the external world grows noisy, chaotic, or demanding. Consciously choose the enduring value of family and authentic friendship over endless, often unproductive commentary or debate, because genuine relationships are your true and most reliable shelter. Let symbolism inform and enrich your understanding rather than dominate or control it, always remembering that profound meaning unfolds gradually and organically over time. Offer a steady, calming presence within your community during major public events, thereby gently guiding collective focus towards peace, harmony, and constructive engagement. Celebrate small, everyday joys, because joy, in its pure form, is a reliable and unequivocal sign that your path remains aligned and authentic. Trust your inner knowing, strengthening it through consistent practice and lived experience rather than engaging in endless external debate or intellectual justification. From our perspective, humanity is profoundly remembering how to feel inwardly in a way that feels utterly natural, deeply grounded, and intrinsically human rather than forced, dramatic, or sensationalized. This 6-month window rapidly sharpens awareness for those who consciously choose calm, offering profound insights without exerting undue pressure or coercion. Light becomes truly practical and impactful when it visibly appears as kindness in action, and profound peace deepens and becomes more enduring through firm, conscious choices made consistently and with integrity in ordinary, unassuming moments of everyday life. Beloved hosts of Earth, I conclude this transmission by leaving you with a peace that is carried directly into your daily actions, with a love that is authentically expressed through ordinary, compassionate care, and with unity that is consciously remembered in every shared breath you take. Your unique path is profoundly supported, your conscious choices genuinely matter, and this powerful season extends an unwavering invitation for you to walk together, hand in hand, with clarity of vision, profound humility, and an unshakable trust in the silent,